I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. So Donald Trump's lawyer in the case where Donald Trump actually sued Michael Cohen for $500 million is saying that all of the depositions and documents and everything relating to the case should be held confidential because Donald Trump is worried about his reputation and he's worried about how the lawsuit can impact his criminal proceedings. And he wants to avoid being embarrassed. Don't take my word for it. We'll look at the court documents themselves, and then we will talk to Michael Cohen directly so you can get Michael Cohen's perspective. We go right to the source here on the MeidasTouch network. Of course, Cohen is my co-host on the podcast Political Beatdown, so I was able to ask him directly about how he feels. But here are the facts. Donald Trump sued Michael Cohen for $500 million in a federal court in the Southern District of Florida, not the other way around. Trump sued Cohen. So in response, Cohen said, I want discovery. I want some documents and I want to take your deposition because you sued me. You used it in press releases. You used it to fundraise. You said a lot of horrific and horrible things about me. I had to go hire a lawyer. I've been hauled into court. I want your deposition. At first, Donald Trump said he's not going to give his deposition. In a case where Donald Trump sued Michael Cohen, the federal judge ordered that Donald Trump's deposition take place in 45 days. Michael Cohen exclusively announced here on the MeidasTouch network that the deposition of Donald Trump in that matter is scheduled to take place on September 6th. But now Donald Trump's lawyers are saying basically that he is too scared about that deposition video becoming a public record or the documents becoming public. And I say to Trump, how dare you? How dare you? You sued Michael Cohen. You sued, I was going to stop myself there. You sued Michael Cohen. So you brought him into court and now you're saying you want confidentiality. You're the one who opened up the courthouse and brought Michael Cohen in on this frivolous case. We'll get Michael Cohen's reaction in just a moment, but here is the plaintiff, Trump. Trump's the plaintiff in this case. It's Trump versus Cohen. He has the audacity to call himself President Donald J. Trump. You ain't the president anymore. You're not the president. So it's Trump versus Michael Cohen, and it's plaintiff's brief on issue of protective order. And in this motion, Donald Trump's lawyers are basically telling the judge because of Trump's reputational interest, because Trump would be embarrassed, and because of the criminal case, keep this all confidential, keep it all secret. And Cohen's like, no, that's not the way it works. Here is what it says. It says, plaintiff Trump requests the entry of a confidentiality order given this matter's inherent susceptibility to public scrutiny and media coverage due to the parties involved. You sued Cohen. You sued Cohen, not the other way around. It says defendant Cohen has been unwilling to agree to the entry of a confidentiality order, and as such, the parties request a hearing before this court to resolve this dispute. At this hearing conducted by the court on July 20th, the court ordered that the parties submit written briefs to further explain their positions. In brief, defendant's Cohen takes the position that good cause does not exist sufficient to warrant the entry of a confidentiality order because of, quote, embarrassment of Donald Trump is not good cause. Go into the brief, look at page 4, and it talks about, well, this is what Trump's argument is. Well, Cohen's argument against the entry of a confidentiality order fails because it is almost entirely premised on the contention that mere embarrassment is not sufficient to constitute good cause. And then the lawyer for Trump says, there is no question that plaintiff's request for the issuance of a confidentiality order partially stems from his status of a public figure, while defendant argues that plaintiff cannot establish good cause because his reputational interests are insufficient for the entry of a confidentiality. As shown below, plaintiff's reputational interest and his statute as a public figure, I'm not sure it means stature, but they says his statute as a public figure are not the only reasons why a confidentiality is warranted. Okay, well, you are saying embarrassment is a figure, reputational interest are a factor. What's the other one? Oh, here it is on page 6. Plaintiff's ongoing criminal proceedings establish a legitimate basis for the entry of a confidentiality order. Really? You're saying, we're going to get to Cohen in 1 second, so just hang tight. You're saying that plaintiff's ongoing criminal proceeding, that trumps the fact that Trump's a criminal, that's the issue? Let's go into it. Oh, here's how it starts. The Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination shields one asserting that privilege from being incriminated by his or her compelled testimonial communications. That protection applies equally to witnesses in civil and criminal proceedings alike. Then it says, as Cohen is aware, plaintiff is currently a defendant in multiple criminal proceedings. Well, you're the one who sued Cohen. So Cohen wants discovery. By the way, your invocation of the Fifth Amendment is an adverse inference in a civil case. But what are you going to do? You're going to request a stay of your own case that you filed against Cohen? You're going to invoke the Fifth in your own case that you sued Cohen? Maybe you should have thought about that before suing Michael Cohen. I think Michael Cohen is not only going to prevail, but I think he's going to get significant sanctions against Donald Trump for bringing this frivolous case. But let's go to Michael Cohen directly and see how Michael Cohen views the fact that Donald Trump is seeking this protective order. Let's go to Michael Cohen right now.
I say you can't have it both ways. That's not the way the system works. They don't want to turn over any of the documents or most of the documents that my lawyers have requested in our discovery order for the sole purpose that they are afraid that those documents could be released, that those documents may incriminate Trump in some of these other legal matters. And again, I just need to scratch my head and say, seriously? So you bring a $500 million frivolous lawsuit against somebody and you expect me to do what? You expect me to roll over, to start to cry, to say to myself, oh my God, Donald Trump is suing me and so on. Listen, I know the game. I know his game. It was all based upon retaliation. All right. He's now put himself into a situation where, as the plaintiff, you are required to move the case forward to be deposed. You may remember, Brigaders, that, and I said this in previous episodes, that Donald wanted to have the deposition 90 days post the election, which would be about 16, 17 months from now. Well, that's obviously not realistic, nor was I going to permit that, nor was my counsel. And so, again, he is now required to sit for this recorded and transcribed deposition on September 6th. And I promise you, my lawyer, Danya Perry and Benjamin Brodsky, they're already in the works. They've already have in the works the development of the questions that they intend to ask. It is going to be a incredibly thorough deposition of Donald, which I promise you he doesn't want. And I promise that if I am permitted, I will be releasing this information because, first of all, I think most of it is going to be funny as shit, right? I mean, listening to him trying to lie, his way out of an answer, but it also is going to demonstrate once again that I am providing accurate and truthful information, that the one who is dishonest, the one who refuses to tell the truth on anything, is Donald J. Trump, a guy who looks like he may be once again the presumptive Republican nominee.
And before even Donald Trump made this protective order motion, here's what Cohen had to say about the deposition. Play the clip.
We got the date, September 6th. Donald Trump is going to be deposed on September 6th in this frivolous $500 million lawsuit. My only hope is that we are not gagged on that videotape and parts or all of it can be released, to the public, because I am a firm believer in transparency. And that's not something that we're getting a lot of out of government today, or definitively under the Trump administration.
Well, it's bizarre that he would be allowed to have confidentiality because he sued you. He put all of these fraudulent allegations against you in the public, and you want to clear your name now. So he's the one who made these facts public in the first place. It tells you everything you need to know that he's going to want to put that subject to a protective order so that it remains quiet and confidential. But that's big news. Cohen, did you say September 6th?
September 6th in Miami, Florida, deposition of Donald J. Trump. And look, my friends, if you had an opportunity, and I'm sure all the brigaders did, to see that disaster of a deposition in the E. Jean Carroll case by Robbie Kaplan, you could only imagine what my counsel, Danya Perry and Benjamin Brodsky, are going to be doing to Donald, because there is no way for him to answer the questions that we are in the process of preparing, even as we speak. I mean, it's not going to be going in and winging it. This is going to be a very deliberate and carefully orchestrated deposition of Donald. And I'm not even sure. I mean, being that this isn't criminal, can he take the fifth on everything other than his name? Well, if he does that, it certainly doesn't help his case. Remember, as the plaintiff, it is he who is obligated to push the case forward. And I just want to remind everyone, thank goodness for the judge who demanded that it be within 45 days of the hearing. Otherwise, Donald wanted it 90 days after the election, which is another 16 months.
Well, folks, you hear it from the source directly, Michael Cohen. You'll hear it from me as well. Trump, you filed this frivolous motion. This is your whole plan. This is what you wanted. Michael Cohen should have your deposition. And again, just shows what a coward Donald Trump is. And again, I'm not just using the words the way Donald Trump is, thug this, thug that. I'm showing you the documents. Donald Trump is afraid of embarrassment in a case that he brought. Against Michael Cohen. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Check us out at MeidasTouch.com. Have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.